Live from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire, the Gurkha Cigar Studios in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, and from beautiful Indian Trail, North Carolina. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco, Kevin Acuff, and William Cooper.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smoke and Tobacco Show. The Spare Notes series. My name is Matt Tabacco from smokeandtobacco.com. I'm joined once again by my very good friends, Kevin Acuff, also of smokeandtobacco.com, and William Cooper. Pause for dramatic effect. Industry giant
What's up?
from
What's
cigar
up, guys?
From cigar-coop.com. It's great to have you guys
What's
here.
happening?
It's awesome. Kevin's looking fucking great tonight. I'm just gonna say that again. Barbara's a very lucky woman. I know I'm jealous. So, and then you got Coop. Talking about mastermind over here. I mean, look at the size of his head, that brain, all that knowledge, information. I mean, he's he's a genius. I mean, I'm surprised they got a headset that fits on that thing. It's.
Oh, geez, stop.
What is that going back to, like Pinky and the Brain?
Oh man,
yeah.
So, but hey, it's Saturday night. We're here. It's this is definitely one of my Hold on one second. I'm on baby duty. Sorry about that. I'm kind of on baby duty. Nicole's just getting home for the night. She had to do an event at work, and so I have the monitor here, so I have the baby sleeping. So, there she is. She's in there. I'm trying to hide the glare, but it's.
All right. Technology. Yeah.
I know.
Never had that.
All right, if I go to the side, you see her in there. She's in her little crib. She's doing her thing.
I'm just waiting for her debut on the Spare Notes show.
I know.
Yeah.
Me too. Someday. I'm gonna crack my Pepsi. God, that's cold. That's nice. But it's Saturday night. It's definitely. I don't want to say this and have it be taken the wrong way, because you know how people are, right? I love everything that we do here at Smoke and Tobacco. I do. I love everyone on our team. I love everything that we do. Every aspect of it. It's not always fun, as everyone in this room knows, but that's just part of doing business, right? But I love everything we do. Now, I said that, so now I'm going to say the next thing I'm going to say, but I still don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. I definitely have more fun on this show, just because of the way that it works. I don't know, it's a more fun show. So I do look forward to Saturday nights, because it's just a different animal, and it's fun. And I don't know about you guys, but this is one of my more fun favorite shows.
Well, this is
a lot
like
of fun.
it's the unscripted, like gloves come off, nothing's off limits for the most part.
Yep.
So
For the most part.
Well, we have quite the audience here tonight. Dan Thompson is here. Barbara's here. Luke Kelly, Joe Seymour, a lot of regulars I'm seeing here, and it looks like now I cannot confirm the validity of this identity, because I don't know, but it would appear that there's a possibility that one Charles Minato of halfwheel.com is with us as well. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun night. And apparently my mic is lower than others, and that is due to a mixing problem. Hopefully this is a little bit better.
there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. I didn't realize.
My gain was down a little too, actually. So let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm lazy. I just have mine
Vince,
on
thank you for
automatic,
that.
so you get what you get.
So anyway, let's get this show on the road. A lot has happened since we were all together last. Coop just came back from the Dominican Republic, where he was at covering ProCigar, the ProCigar Festival of 2024. And then I know you were at the Great Smoke, so I'm sure you can talk a little bit about that. Kevin, I know that you weren't on I don't think you were on our last Spare Notes show, but you haven't really.
I've missed the last two.
Was it the last two? Fuck.
Mhm.
So you haven't really been on since you went to TPE, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on TPE for the reason of we all know that it was not a very super busy show, but also we have PCA coming up, and I don't really want to waste too much time on a show that really didn't have a lot happening when we have a show that will have a lot happening coming up, and I'd rather spend a lot of time on that. But I do want to do maybe a quick, first person, hey, like this is what the show was at some point tonight. And then, of course, we're going to talk about PCA. So as PCA is now less than a month away, all of us, with the exception of Kevin, who already lives there, will be in Las Vegas very, very soon. I just can't believe
Maybe I
it.
just need to fly somewhere so I can fly in and be flying to Vegas with everybody else.
You need to go away, and then when everyone's
then
coming to
fly
town,
in.
come home and be like, "Hey guys, I'm heading to Vegas," and it's like, "Shut up, you're heading home." Like, So you also you had the Super Bowl in town, you had F1, you got PCA, there's a lot going on over there.
We're having a hurricane today.
I saw that.
We have torrential rains and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So if suddenly I'm just not here, the power went out, the lights have flickered a couple times within the past couple hours. I mean, chances are good that it won't happen, but you never know.
That wacky Nevada desert weather. It's so funny because I feel like everyone, assumes that because if you've been to Las Vegas or the Southwest, really, in the summertime, you know how hot and dry it gets, and let me be fair, it's usually pretty dry all year round, but in the summertime it gets so hot. Spring and the fall are generally warmer than most other places in the country, but it can get chilly there in the wintertime. But everyone just assumes it's just this hot, blazing desert, dry all the time. I feel like most people think oh yeah, Las Vegas, it's hot and dry sand all the time, and it's no, they get wild weather too.
Phoenix is more of the dry sand year round, but
yeah.
That's the elevation difference between Phoenix and here, though.
Wait till this industry gets a rude awakening about smoking outside with a March trade show. All these Miami people who wanted the trade show in the spring, and when they're freezing their butts off, and they're gonna be, this is not good.
It'll be nice here at the end of March.
Well, it can get cold at night though. I've been down there; it's gotten into the high 40s at night.
In March?
Yeah, that's unusual. I mean, you'll see 50s and 60s in the evening. You should during the dates of the trade show. Earlier in March, definitely still in the 40s at night. But even now,
so it will be a little. So you think it will be a little warmer for us by in a few weeks?
Yes, you should catch mid 70s, maybe upper 70s during the day, and maybe low to mid 50s at night.
That's cold for people in Miami, though. That's why I'm saying some of these Miami people, when it gets below 55, they melt. Not melt, freeze. I should say.
Yeah, it can't be as bad as I've been in Vegas many different times of the year. I've been there in January. I've been there in February. I've been there every month of the summer. I've been there in the fall. I would say my favorite time to be there is October, November. Kevin, I think you'll agree with that as someone who lives there.
Yeah, September, October is probably our the end of September into early October is probably our nicest weather, where it's still warm enough at night that you don't get chilly and it's not ridiculously hot.
You're not burning
during the day. You're not. You don't erupt into a fireball when you walk outside or have to wear gloves to touch your car door.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember having family who also lived in Las Vegas, and they used to say, "Oh yeah, we keep the gloves in the car because in the summertime it's too hot, so you got to put the gloves on." I was like, "What? That's crazy. They do that?" I'm like, "That's wild." So it's a thing, but yeah. Look, the last couple of years, we've had the trade show in July, and we've had to deal with that. So I don't know. I think it will be nice to go to Vegas and not be burning and just be a little more comfortable. You know, and then unfortunately we have to go to New Orleans and find out how that's gonna go. So, wah, wah, wah. Anyway, so I'm just going through the comments here. Did you read a book on winning friends and influencing people, Matthew Tabacco? I did. I read that book. I get by with a little help from my friends. I think these 4 blokes from England once said that. So it's a combination.
You know, I was thinking more of like when you said that you love everything about smoking tobacco. I was kind of thinking of Jackie Moon from Semi Pro.
Oh my God, that's a
saying,
great fucking movie.
Everybody love everybody.
ELE.
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 Okay, so the obscure movie reference is done for the night.
That was a good one though. That's that's one that I feel like a lot of people forget about. You know what I mean? Like Will Ferrell is pretty popular, and I like all his movies because I like him a lot. But I feel like Semi Pro is like, I don't know. I feel like
It was such a funny movie.
At point guard. I traded our washing machine to get him. What? Woody Harrelson. I like him too.
Yep.
Favorite Woody Harrelson movie though? Kingpin.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. Anyway, we're getting off topic here.
Is there a
Gentlemen,
topic?
what are we smoking tonight? Let's start with that.
Coop.
All right. I picked. This is one of the cigars I got from ProCigar, and we smoked quite a few of these. Jay and I down there, and we were really impressed with them. These are the H. Upmann Special Edition Barbiers, so they're the barber poles. They were smoking really good down in the Dominican Republic, so I'm gonna light one of these up tonight.
Nice.
So
Kevin, what you got?
I am smoking. I don't know if you can see it. I am smoking the Ripper from J. London.
Oh, nice. I
this is
think
cool.
I
It's
have
got
some of those, but I don't think I've smoked it yet.
What's really cool is like there's one cigar in the box, so these all have the dagger and the band, and there's one cigar in the box that actually has the dagger and the leaf.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that's actually kind of a cool thing.
Jay Davis is here tonight. Sorry, I got excited. Jay's my boy. Another Will Ferrell one. Yeah, my boy Blue. Who knows that one?
Oh, jeez. Don't even.
I bet you Coop doesn't know that one.
Old school.
Oh, wow.
I'm not a movie. People know I'm not the movie guy, but I love.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow, you had that one like.
Yeah,
loaded
that's
ready.
it's in that. I gotta just say this now. I guess one of the great characters of movies back in my day died. And that's the guy who played. His name is Anthony Gagnos. He played Meat Tuperillo in Porky's. One of the great characters. He passed away.
Did he really?
Yeah,
I remember
Meat.
Porky's. Meat.
Yeah, Meat was
that
probably
movie.
the most memorable character in those movies.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Why do they call you Meat? Stuff like that. So old school kind of was like, it's in that genre of Porky's. I guess not quite as raunchy, but in that kind of genre, I kind of put that movie.
So you guys are Porky's babies.
Depends. I liked Porky's 1 and 3. I didn't like 2.
I don't think I ever
You
saw any
always
of the
got you always got to go with the original. I mean, it's just that's one of those movies
it's a
they
lot of
ruined it if
one-liners.
they made more.
Yeah. The first one has all the one-liners. That's why it's one of those movies you'll watch 1,000 times.
Yeah. It's funny, and you guys know this. I am very good with pop culture. I very vastly, especially like everything before my time. People are often very impressed that I went back. But the Porky's, I know of Porky's and I know about it, but I've never seen it.
You need to watch it.
This is
you
a
need to
rare
watch it,
occurrence.
Matt.
You will laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially considering they could never make that movie today.
No,
they
Not a
would.
chance-
Howard
not a
Stern was thinking
chance
of
in
bringing
hell.
it back. Howard Stern was trying to bring it back, and he realized it wouldn't work. Like he knew that he had his hands tied with it.
yeah. Anything Howard Stern does, in my opinion, is gold because I love Howard very much. But you know, um, who knows? Maybe someday. I don't.
Yep.
I look for. I fear for the day he actually retires. I don't know. He said he's on his last contract with Sirius, but I don't know. Something says that's bullshit. I feel like he's gonna
Money talks. Money talks.
money talks. You
Mhm.
know, they're not gonna let him go. He's their cash cow. Once Howard
Yeah.
Stern is gone, like when he's dead, especially, and he cannot come back, I bet you see Sirius go, like just
He
gone.
he saved them. Yeah, he definitely saved them.
Mm-hmm.
They were in major financial trouble before he got there.
100%. So.
Yep.
But anyway, let's talk about TP very, very quickly. Kind of move on from that. Kevin, this will be really your time to shine, as me and Coop were not there. And then after that, Coop, I'd love to get into ProCigar.
Yep.
And I'd love to have you give us kind of a quick recap of that and kind of like,
Yep.
the highs, the lows, So Kevin, I'll let you kind of go first and just give us like kind of the general overview of like, your experience at the trade show, what you saw, kind of the vibe you felt. I mean, we've already kind of talked about it. I think people know it was a much slower show, but you were there.
It was
just how slow was it?
I mean, it never really had, how like trade shows, they kind of, you have like the first few hours and it's a little bit crowded and it kind of builds up. And then typically like by the end of the first day, it's humping, right? I mean, I almost kind of felt like TPE this year was on par with maybe like the last day of PCA last year, attendance wise, like through the whole show. It just was lacking. We never made it upstairs to the other area.
Yeah.
Where I heard, there was bikini girls and stripper poles and
Wow,
glitter bombs
really?
and all that. Yeah, I mean, it was almost like a rave party upstairs apparently.
Well, it is Las Vegas.
So we never made it up to that. Talking to the vendors and whatnot. Some of them were busy, some of them weren't. I mean, when you walk by major brands and see all their reps and significant people with the brand sitting and talking and bullshitting amongst each other without customers to talk to, it's not a good show.
They were all going to meet Mike Tyson.
Well, we went to meet Mike Tyson. I mean, we had to
But
we had to go meet Billy Gibbons too. But
right, but people were supposed to be doing sales. I saw getting pictures with him. So, and I assume it wasn't a short wait.
It was. I mean, I think we waited when the Billy Gibbons line was quick. The Mike Tyson line was actually, there was a little bit more of a line for Mike Tyson, but I mean, I think Barb and I waited maybe 10 minutes.
Okay.
To get in to see him, and the interesting thing is, I mean, Tyson is it's a picture, get out. You handed your phone to one of his handlers, they took the picture, and away you went. Billy Gibbons actually interacted with you. Billy Gibbons actually interacted and had a conversation. He thought it was cool. Barb walks up smoking a cigar, so he thought that was cool. The pretty lady smoking a cigar. He says, "Wow," he says, "you got a winner here." He says, "You got a good-looking woman, and she smokes cigars." He goes, "That's my kind of girl." Way to go, guy. And it was just really cool to talk to that dude. I mean, ZZ Top. I mean, I fanboyed big time on that because that was the first concert I ever went to, was to see those guys and to see him. And I mean, I think he's like 74 now.
Yeah, he's about that age.
And I mean, damn, I mean, he looks good for 74 years old and just, active and engaging. And I mean, he appeared happy to be there. But that was literally like one of the highlights of the show, or like the highlight of the show. It was for the premium cigars. It was not good.
A question on Billy Gibbons. Did you actually get to try the cigar?
I did not.
Okay, I'm just curious.
We got his, and I forget the name of him, and I've got a bundle of them sitting over here. He has the fresh pack sweetened ones, and we've got those, and they're almost like a cheroot type cigar. They don't really need humidity. And Barb and I smoked one of those. They're like a honey infused cigar, and I mean the tobacco in it is really good. I mean, I was actually surprised. I was expecting it to be just kind of like a, like a Swisher Sweet or something like that. And I mean, it's a cigar that I would smoke.
Yeah, the
I would
twin
actually
turbo.
probably
What's the twin turbo?
the twin turbo. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I would buy that cigar. They didn't have samples. They had like a couple boxes there of the autograph humidor where they had, where it's a 5-pack of, it's a 5 cigars, and the limited humidors. I think it was limited, if I'm not mistaken, to 500. He signed the first 150 of them, and then it was a custom Zippo lighter that went in it. And I mean, everything was signed and numbered, or assigned a number and limited edition and whatnot. But I mean, they're made by Debonair. So
yeah, that's kind of
chances are the cigar is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, and I think the twin turbos are made also. That's at De Los Races factory with Debonair uses. So I'm assuming it's like the same tobaccos. They're using good tobacco.
Yeah.
As well. Even though they're filler scraps or whatever you want to say, but.
I assume you guys are still talking about Billy Gibbons. I'm sorry, I had to tap out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I was, when I heard that he was there, that's when that's when I was like, fuck, I should have went to TP. I would have, if I knew he was gonna be there, I would have grabbed all my ZZ Top albums and I would have flown out there and I would have gone just for that. I love ZZ Top.
I asked his manager for an interview, and of course I was told no. But I mean, you don't know if you don't ask, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But that's somebody that, I mean, if the cigars move and become popular, I think that's somebody that definitely needs to be sourced and tracked down interview wise.
Question is, do you think he'll be at PCA or was it just TP?
I don't know.
Coop, what's your thought?
I think he's going to be. Look, this is my guess. Why wouldn't you if his schedule allows it? Take him to PCA.
That's a bigger show. I mean,
I mean that's a huge hit. Just that cigar is so limited. I don't know if they'll have product to move. Is the problem.
And the thing is, we were talking about this, Kevin, on the last show, Matt and I. Their distribution is not like with a premium cigar distributor. It's someone more in tune with the mass market piece. So those humidors are gonna have to be moved to the retailers. So they're gonna have to hand sell those things. And I would say if you hand sell them at PCA, you got to have Gibbons there. That's the way you're gonna hand sell those things. So if the schedule allows it, I think you could see him there.
That would actually be pretty freaking cool if he was there, because I mean, Barb and I really enjoyed that. I mean, it was good seeing everybody. First trade show of the year. There were some releases at the trade show. There was some new stuff. There was some people that we hadn't seen before. I mean, we literally had the opportunity to talk to just about everybody there. And that's another indicator that a trade show isn't busy when you walk by a booth and it's like, well, can we set up a time to talk to you guys, when you have a few minutes? And pretty much every booth we went to is like, you got time now? So
yeah.
that's not a good indicator of a high traffic trade show. And more than one manufacturer said, well, it's obviously it was a shot fired by PCA by moving the date, and it worked because we think that the traffic is down because PCA is in 8 weeks.
I think the real litmus test of this is going to be next year, and part of me thinks that TP may see a little bit of a surge next year because of people wanting to go to Vegas over New Orleans. And the fact that, TPE makes it worth their while to go, there's hosted programs where they can get, the tickets are free, the room's covered. That may entice. So I think we could see a little boost next year with that because I'm just not totally sold on people wanting to go to New Orleans. PCA's got a lot of work to sell the industry on a New Orleans trade show, is what I'm going to say.
Agreed. I mean, I talked to several people about that as well, and I mean, just the vibe is pretty much the same as we've talked many times before. Is nobody seems uber excited to see it moving to New Orleans. So
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting for sure to see.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
more side note on TPA, and then I'll shut up about it. Is another thing that at least on, I don't know, maybe our side of the industry saw was the opening night party. I mean, Matthew, you've been there before, so
I
the
have.
opening party at the pool at Sahara on the big stage, Radio XX, rock and roll band, live jamming, just a good time. This year it was at Caesar's Palace in a nightclub, and some of the people I talked to says it was literally so loud you couldn't talk, you couldn't smoke in the venue. So
Well, what a dumb idea! You
I
go.
don't I
How do you have
don't
a
I don't
party and you can't
understand what
smoke
the
at a
point. I
venue?
mean, they had
Yeah.
a patio you could smoke on, but it's not the same thing. And like every room had a DJ, and they had DJ music bumping, and it was just noisy and loud, and it was a nightclub atmosphere. Now, the alternative tobacco and the younger crowd, I'm sure they absolutely loved it. But I mean, we
If
didn't
I was,
go. Just I heard where it was going to be at, and Barb and I both agreed. Yeah, we're not nightclub people. We're not going to go. We don't
yeah,
have any interest in it, so we didn't go.
yeah. I don't blame you. I know this industry and loud music is a thing. They love loud. But it's in fairness, those nightclubs are not why they're always loud. I've been to a
Mm-hmm.
couple of events at nightclubs, and it's one of the before I came down with sepsis, I was actually worried about getting it, right? Because I can't believe how many people they'll pack into those nightclubs sometimes, and it's just ridiculous. So
Yeah, I'm just not a night. I mean, I've never been like the nightclub type of person. Even when I was young and of the age to go to nightclubs, it just wasn't my
I
thing.
I understand that, yeah.
And that's pretty much all I got on TPE. I mean, I know you guys have talked about it before, and that's really it. I mean, nothing new or nothing different to report.
I got one more question for you, Kevin. So was there any you go to the question everyone gets when you go to a trade show is did you smoke anything that really kind of caught your attention for the first time? So I'll ask you that question.
Not really. I mean, the one
They-
thing, you know what? I'm gonna retract that statement. The one thing that I did smoke that caught my attention is the was the crap, and now the name just totally the brand just totally escaped me. The Aladino Candela.
oh, the Toro size.
That thing, holy shit! I am not a Candela fan. That thing I would smoke. I mean, that would be in my regular rotation.
I haven't smoked the Toro size yet. They did do a small release of the Robusto last year, and it's very good.
The
I agree.
the Toro is even better. And
Yeah.
if you've never experienced Candela, you got to try it, and just be forewarned that it is unlike any other Candela that you'll smoke. I mean, the Luzion is probably close, but it's a cigar that'll make you want to try other Candelas, only to be disappointed because they're way different and don't taste anything like it. So that was
Yeah.
probably the standout of the show. I mean, we definitely got to talk to some new brands. One of the standouts, and I'll have some reviews coming up later in the year for him, was Lord Baltimore. That's where Les from ST Dupont said, "Hey, you got to go talk to these guys." And I mean, Les, man, gives a recommendation. I'm definitely going to listen and go talk to them. And I was very impressed with the brand, their presentation. They're up and coming. They're more of a their whole brand portfolio is set more towards the mild to medium strength cigars. I mean, they have Connecticut Maduro Habano, but they're all mild to medium. So it's a opportunity for people to be able to try the different leaves and the darker leaves and whatnot, but not have to worry about strength, and be able to enjoy the smoking experience without the nicotine spins or anything else. and the cigars are pretty good. I've smoked a couple of them
Right.
just to try them, and it's a good cigar.
Nice. I'll have to check those out.
Sorry, guys. I was being a little quiet there. I was doing some parenting from behind the scenes. So.
And you're letting me be a chatterbox, which is unusual.
I know.
I'm using
Well, I'm like, you guys are.
I'm using the quiet one on the show, and I'm actually getting to talk.
You guys, you're doing your thing, and I'm like, you know
mouth.
what? I have to be here, obviously,
Yeah.
but I'm also like trying to co-parent. So, anyway, I wanted to bring up ProCigar. I don't want to like stop and change the subject too much, but I also I'm trying to stick to a thing here tonight.
Oh,
But
I want to hear all about ProCigar.
I want to go right into ProCigar now.
Vicariously through Coop.
Yeah, Coop. First of all, for those who don't know, I'm gonna give like a little teaser into this. I know you hate teasers, but like you're about to say it. But for those who don't know, I mean, Coop lived quite the VIP life at ProCigar. Not only this time, but in previous times. I mean, when Coop goes to ProCigar, I don't know. Coop, I know how much you love Miami, and I know you love going to Miami, but I feel like when you go to ProCigar now, like you have more fun at ProCigar in the Dominican than you do when you're in Miami. I mean, there's always something going on with you.
It's because it's the best cigar event in the world. It really is. And that's not taking anything away. It's a very unique cigar event. Obviously it has a compared to Great Smoke. It's totally different, right? Because I look at the Great Smoke as that's put on by the kind of the distribution side of the business and the retail side of the business. This festival's put on by the production side, so it's very different completely. But I don't know. It is a some of the places I was in a few places at the right time, I'll just say that. So I lucked out, with that. But go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, I'm reading a text message from Kevin, and I'm like, yeah, I'm bringing this up, and I don't give a fuck. So,
I know you're gonna bring up, but that's all right. It's been talking.
He already knows. He already knows what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So, all right, without getting too far ahead, but towards the end of ProCigar, okay.
Yeah.
It was was it the final gala? It was the night of the auction, right? The gala night.
It was the night of the auction night.
That's what they call it, right? Though it's like the gala.
Yeah.
The real formal
gala. Yeah.
The formal event.
It's the formal. Yeah. It's the gala event. I call it the auction. Yeah.
So there was a very special person in attendance. Sorry, I got distracted. There was a very special person in attendance tonight, a sitting president, sitting president of the Dominican Republic was in attendance. Now, there was two interactions that happened that are very noteworthy. One of them was with you, and one of them you were at both of them, and the other one we covered. So when Herklotz was on the show on Wednesday night with me,
did he talk about
he did. He did.
Absolutely, he did.
He did. I made sure to bring it up, and he loved it. And he told me how when you got in the car, and then he was and Will Cooper's like, dude, do you know who that was?
So I'm sure Michael told the story good, but to recap, like we were leaving pretty quickly, and as we're leaving, a gentleman comes out and he kind of reaches out to Michael and he kind of says, hey, great job on the auction, thank you for what you did. And Michael, in his haste, goes, thanks, bro, and he gives him the bro pat on the back, with the half fist, and he moves on, not knowing that gentleman was the president of the Dominican Republic. And we get in a car, I just start laughing, and he's like, Michael knew, he's like, that was the president. Yeah, he had no idea.
Yeah, and I thought that was hilarious. But you know what? That's just typical Herklotz. That's just the kind of guy he is. You're like, hey, bro, it's all good.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Mike. I wouldn't expect it anyway. But I don't have it loaded into the program, or I would play it, or maybe I can.
It's out there. It's on the Coop. You can even go to Coop's on the article I did on it. It's in there. I mean, I put the video.
There's a video when the president walks by, and at the last second, he goes in to shake Coop's hand, and then the camera just goes to Coop, and he gives us one of these.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally. I likened it to a teenage boy seeing boobies for the first time. Was the expression on Coop's face?
Or finding
So,
his first boner,
Listen,
Whoa,
when you,
what's that?
I was so. So how did we
I
get to
get
that?
it though.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saw it. So when we knew it wasn't really a secret that the president was coming. So I knew the president was coming, and because I knew the president was coming, I had gone with Michael to the venue an hour early because Michael had to prepare. So I got in before everybody else. So I positioned myself with seating where I can, if the president was going to be accessible to the stage, I would be able to do it, and unless some Dominican security person moved me, which didn't happen. And that's exactly what happened. So when he came in and went over to sit with, and he sat over at a ProCigar table with Ciro and Henke Kellner, I got some really good pictures of the president at that point. But then what happened is they went over. They presented Carlito Fuente in the Fuente factory. They gave him some recognition for getting Cigar of the Year from Cigar Aficionado. So he goes up on stage. The president goes up there at that point, and they do the presentation of Carlito, and then Carlito, again, they knew the president was going to be there. He had a box of cigars signed for the president as well. I go up there. I literally go up and start taking pictures, right? I was shocked that I could just get right in front of that stage and take pictures, right? You couldn't do that in the U.S., I'll tell you that. They would have pulled me off, right? But no one stopped me or anyone else from doing that. So I did that. I went back to my seat, and the president comes off the stage on our side, and Eric Gutmerson had a camera rolling with it, right? So he's filming the president coming off the stage, and he's coming past us, and I just hold out my hand, and maybe he'll shake it, and he sees it, and he kind of detours off his path a little, and he comes and shakes my hand. I was completely shocked at that point. I'm like, I just shook the hand of the president of the Dominican Republic, which I don't normally get starstruck, but that was a big deal in my book, right? Because not a lot of people got that opportunity. It was, again, because of the seating we had, which was really good. So, yeah, that's how that happened. And the one thing I'll say about the president is he didn't come in and just bolt and leave. He was there a couple hours at least 2.5 hours. At least I saw him. I mean, we left before he did. Let's put it like that. So, I mean, that was a good. I think it was a very positive thing for the festival to have that happen.
One of the things that really impressed upon me watching the videos of him interacting with the participants and whatnot at ProCigar is how actively engaged and involved he was. I mean, and you could read people's body language. I mean, he genuinely was happy to be there and happy to see everybody in his country. So, it really shows how big of a deal cigars are to the DR.
Yeah, so he was supposed to come 2 years ago to ProCigar. And what happened was that's when the Ukraine war had broke out. So a bunch of presidents from countries were on all these conference calls. I guess even though I don't know what he had to do with the Ukraine, but he was apparently called into meetings with that. So they ended up sending the vice president to ProCigar a couple years ago. But obviously this one had a lot more impact. And he wanted to be there. He's a big supporter of the industry. He believes that the industry is important to the culture and heritage of the Dominican Republic. So he has a very strong – he knows that this is extremely important and it's part of Dominican culture. I didn't see him smoking, though. The one thing I'll say is I didn't see him smoking. I might have missed it. I wasn't eyeballing him the whole time he was there, but I didn't see him smoking a cigar that night. But regardless, he's a big supporter of the industry, and he really – I think his presence – and it's already a very emotionally high night with that auction. That just even made it more special that night, having him there.
Yeah, it was super cool to see. It really was, and I mean that really impressed. I mean that impressed upon me.
And I think it should. I think it should impress on a lot of people. And he's up for re-election this year, so it'll be interesting. I don't know. He seems like a popular president, but I don't know what the polls are there or not. But obviously, I think the whole ProCigar is very much behind him, obviously. So it definitely seems like he has relationships with people in ProCigar too. So it's not like he's a stranger to them. I believe Ciro knows him. Henke, I think, knows him as well. So he's gone to. He was at the Pro Cigars 30th celebration, which was not a festival. It was more of an internal thing. He showed up for that a couple years ago. So he definitely is very much supportive of the industry. And he's popular because he's liked. He's very well liked, and his presence was appreciated there. And his presence, I could probably be wrong. I didn't find it as disruptive as I might have thought it would be. I thought him being there, it could disrupt the whole event. It didn't seem to really do that. No one kind of did something, no one did anything crazy. It didn't seem like he had a lot of security, but I was told there was security around the whole place. So.
Oh, I'm sure there was.
Yeah,
but
it's
the
just,
fact that
you don't know.
see it means it was done right.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't want to sound insensitive, but there's obviously a big difference between the president of the Dominican Republic and the president of the United States, or the president of Russia, or one of the other major nations. You know what I mean? It just because those guys have a lot more power and things to lose.
But this is the top dog in the country at this event.
Yeah, a president's a president. It doesn't matter. I mean, yes, the size of the country. Yeah, the size of the country definitely does make a difference, but a president's a president.
But
what's the size of the country is.
But having said that, though, my point being is, but having said that, I was surprised from what it sounds like, how minimal the security was. You know what I mean? When our president goes anywhere, there's 1,000 Secret Service agents everywhere, and the military on standby.
I don't want to say it was low key, but I think what it wasn't as obvious, is what I'm saying. So I don't want to say it was low, but again, no one got in the president's face or anything like that. Right. I think everyone was pretty well behaved that night. So there was nothing that I saw that would even warrant security. But there was security there. I'm not gonna say that none. There was.
Well, I mean, I'd expect nothing less out of our industry. I mean, that's the type of people that you're around. We don't do that kind of shit.
Like I said, you know what? In this industry, countless times embarrasses themselves, right? They did not embarrass themselves there. They were on their best behavior that night, and that was the best thing that we could have had. Because that was actually in the back of my mind is, will someone do something stupid, but that didn't happen, at least from what I saw.
Well, if something stupid happened, he never comes again.
But this industry,
for the president to show up.
How many times does this industry just want to have fun and they end up getting into trouble? I mean, so it's I've seen it happen.
Yeah, those damn cigar smokers, right? Isn't that what people say? But no, I mean, look, I think it's important to have the president there. At an event, it gives it some validity that the leader of the nation is at that event supporting it, and it's as cigar smokers and people in this industry, it's nice to see that event is being so supported. Sorry, excuse me. It continues to grow.
Yeah.
Right? And it continues to grow.
Yeah. And I'll say this, a couple of people I've talked to in the Dominican, I'm not going to say who they were. They're not necessarily people who voted for him, but they all say, look, him being there was very important. And the politics get thrown out at that point. And he's the leader, and he's there. And it says a lot.
Oh, that's huge for the industry, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially the industry in the Dominican.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I have yet to go to Pro Cigar myself. I know it's something that we've been working on, schedule-wise and all that. But we're hoping to be there next year, and I'm excited, myself, to really, to see this. Coop, I know you said it's the greatest event. And I've been to the Dominican and I've been down there and seen some of how the magic is done. But the way Pro Cigar puts it all together. I've watching from afar, especially watching all of Coop's coverage over the years. I mean, it's I can feel it even from afar. That's a very special event. I know right now. Yeah, of course. And I feel like that it keeps getting bigger. And I wanted to ask you, Coop. Being at the show but the festival multiple times now. I mean, do you get that sense that this festival is going to continue to grow to even maybe someday a very large scale? Um,
I don't know if they can grow it much more
okay.
because of the venues. They need to have gala. The galas hold a lot of people, right? So it's not just the attendees that go there; the whole industry goes there, and
Yep.
I think all those venues are pretty close to capacity right now. So they always can find other venues, I guess. But I'm just saying they're pretty much capacity. So, but I don't think they're at 100% sellout either in San. I know the piece in La Romana, which was where it started. That piece sold out, but that's a small piece. The San Diego piece, I think there was still tickets available when it started. So I don't think they were quite there yet.
Yeah, I know that you were talking to me about the La Romana part about it because that was your first time going to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So La Romana is on the other side. It's in the southeast part of the Dominican Republic. San Diego's in the north central, and that's where Tabacalera de Garcia is, which is the factory that makes a lot of the Altadis brands. So they start it there. You're hosted at Casa de Campo, which is a very, very nice resort. That a lot, I've been there before. And what they try to do is they give you a little bit of the resort experience combined with the Tabacalera de Garcia experience. So we took a catamaran trip to this island off the coast of La Romana called Isla de Catalina, which is Catalina Island. It's literally an island where no one lives. It's just a day out. You go there by boat and you go there to the beach for the day, basically. So we got to experience a little of that part of the side of Dominican culture, the beach piece of it. And then at night, there were a couple of events hosted by ProCigar, and Tabacco de Garcia was like the main company there because that's the only one who's really located down there. And one thing that they did that I really liked is the 2 nights we were in La Romana, they picked a brand to be the theme of the night, right? This is a page out of the Habanos Festival. So night 1, Vega Fina 1998 was the highlighted cigar. And night 2, it was the Monte Cristo Epic cigars that were highlighted. And I really liked that. And I also liked how it was a little more intimate, so the Altadis people aren't sitting all at one table. They intermingled with a lot of folks. We had 2, and I know Jay was there with me. We really enjoyed those nighttime events that were done in La Romana. They were done right.
Yeah, I saw your stuff you posted. I saw Jay. I gotta say, Jay. To me, I mean, not like in the same way that you and I and others like cover the event as actual media, but like Jay posted a lot of stuff.
Jay's got a lot of credits in the Coop coverage.
Yeah.
Because Jay did help me out in several instances of getting me either photos I missed or videos I missed, or getting me videos and video for things where I wasn't. So that was kind of important to get some of that as well. So I really couldn't have done that without Jay's help on a lot of that. So he did a good job. Yeah, he did a very good job.
Yeah, I was looking at that and I was like, look at Jay. Yeah, I think he had a couple of live videos too. He had a lot of photos. I'm like,
yeah, he had some really good coverage
good to know.
of the event for sure.
He could be Jay Davis could be like my emergency backup goalie someday. I don't know.
Oh, he did a good job. He did a good. Yeah, I mean, because like I said, what happens is once you get to San Diego, you break up and you go to different factories. So the idea of what I do is, since ProCigar does provide me the ticket to go. Okay, I'm going to put that on the table. It's no secret.
Yep.
So I got to give them well-rounded coverage, right? So as much as I wanted to go to La Flor again this year and eat, right? And see that tour, and I love that tour. I told John, I gotta rotate it this year. He understood. So I ended up going to Casa Carrillo, and I went to Tabacalera Palma, which is 2 factories I've not covered or been to. So Jay was over at the Fuente piece, so he was able to get me some, a vibe and things going on at Fuente. while I'm over at these other factories. So that was a big help to me to have that. I wish they would give us more than 2 factories, but I'm not complaining because at least they don't make the days over tiring either.
That's true too.
Yeah.
I agree with
So-
you on that. I know how that can be.
Yeah.
So let me ask this. I mean, it may be a little redundant, but I mean, to somebody that's never been and aspires to be able to go down there to that event. So just take us from day one through the end, just a kind of like a brief summary, brief synopsis. So you guys flew in what Sunday, I think.
Yeah, I flew in.
So
I
from
flew in
like
on Sunday.
Sunday on, how does it go?
Yeah, so I'll kind of give you the Reader's Digest version if you want more info. We could dive into it. But we get in Sunday. I flew into Punta Cana, and it's about a 45-minute taxi ride to Casa de Campo. You get into Casa de Campo, you check into your rooms, you register there, and we had a welcome reception that night. And that was dinner. Actually, it was a dinner. It was dinner, and Vega Fina was the featured cigar that night. So you got that, and like I said, the Tabacco de Garcia has the Grupo de Maestros, so some of those guys were there, and we get to intermingle with those. The next day, day 2, is also in La Romana. That was the catamaran trip to Catalina Island, and at night there was a dinner on the beach, and that beach was Monte Cristo Epic was the featured cigar.
Great cigar.
And that Epic 12 years is it was in my top 10 last year. It's one of the best. Yeah. I think it was important. A lot of Monte Cristo has had a lot of it's gotten a lot of attention with some of the stuff coming with AJ, and they're very good cigars. But Monte Cristo was born at Tabacco de Garcia, and they're still making some very good Monte Cristos there. So I was glad to see that. The next day we went to the factory in the morning. So we had a great tour of the factory of tobacco, massive factory. When you go to these factories, the tours are condensed, all right. But I think it works for this festival because there's so much going on. But they tend to make it more. They kind of make it more than just a factory tour. They bring in food vendors. They have music. And they try to make it more of an experiential type of thing. And I think that's one thing that ProCigar really has done well over the past few years. So they had the music and the food. They had some really good Dominican coffee. They had a vendor that was really good with that Dominican coffee. So we went on the factory tour. There was a presentation by the Grupo de Maestros, which was very interesting. They talked about the history of Tabacco de Garcia. So you got a lot of education. The tour itself is great. It was probably a tour I could have spent 2 days doing, but again, these aren't meant to be. That's why you have Nick Perdomo do his types. Those types of tours exist outside of festivals,
Right?
Where you can get good. Yeah. Then we had a bus ride to from La Romana to Santiago. It was about 4.5 hours, which I've had some nightmare bus trips because I've done this before. Like I've had a 7-hour. Once I took one, it took 7 hours. So. This wasn't that bad a trip. It's usually the part of this. That's the one part of the trip I dread. Then there was a reception in Santiago, and then we all went to dinner at Saga. A bunch of us went to dinner at Saga, which is a restaurant owned by the Reyes family. That's not part of the ProCigar experience unless you go on the Reyes tour. But and that's the way we've had the tomahawk steaks every year. So we devoured 4 tomahawk steaks that night with a group of 8. To give you an idea, but in my opinion, Saga is the best restaurant on the planet. To me,
that was amazing to see all that. That was, it was drool inducing for sure.
Yeah, so that's owned by the Reyes family, who owns De Los Reyes Cigars. They make the Saga brand of cigars, but they own a lot of tobacco fields, and they also have a factory, and they do a lot of mass market stuff as well. So Augusto Reyes. They call him Fufi. He's the guy who owns the restaurant. He's really friendly and welcomes everyone individually into the restaurant. It's not a huge restaurant. You got to make a reservation, particularly this time of the year.
Wait, hold on. I just thought of something. So you got Fufi and we got Boofy. Does Boofy know Fufi? I mean, that's come on. We got to get that.
Man, we'll have to find that one out. Yeah.
We got to put that together. I mean, come on.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, continue your story.
Yeah, I never put it up. Yeah, so that was the first day in Santiago. we're down day 4. Day 4 is when the factory farm tours start. So I went to Casa Carrillo that day, and that was the opening of Casa Carrillo. So the day before, they had announced that Ernesto was renaming the factory from Tabacalera La Alianza to Casa Carrillo, which I think is a better name. But it wasn't just like they put a new sign on the door. Everything inside that factory was rebranded with Casa Carrillo stuff. So some of the little signages you see on the rooms or whatever, it was a complete top-to-bottom makeover of that. We had a tour that was done by a guy named Mikey. He's a guy that Ernesto hired from Habanos a few years ago to be his general manager at the factory. So he was involved with making the Bahique originally, this guy Mikey. And I might maybe saying his name wrong, but Mikey, I think, is kind of in the gist of it. This guy put a clinic on how to do a factory tour. So I'm just gonna tell you, I'll put him in the upper echelon of guys who do factory tours. One of the best, right up there with the Nick Perdomos. Who Nick puts a clinic on as well. But this guy, he put an absolute clinic on. And then there was a pairing seminar, and Ernesto did the pairing seminar. So that was, and I got some time with Ernesto at lunchtime, which was really good. So they have a lot of projects that are in the pipeline. The Coop policy is I don't publish that stuff until they're ready. So there's stuff but I think if you're an EPC fan, there's plenty that's going to be happening this year, is what I'm just going to say. So I think we saw the Encore Blacks being packaged, which
wow.
So that was pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, do we know when those are going out?
They should be shipping now.
Yeah, because those are on my list. I haven't really kind of getting ready to transition the conversation to PCA.
Right.
Because I know we're and like you say, we're going to be seeing some stuff come up soon, and we're starting to get the announcements of like, oh, this is what we're bringing. But yeah, the Encore Black. I mean, I just want to like pause for a second, talk about EP Carrillo. I mean that's a brand that for like the last couple of years. I mean they've been doing some great stuff. I've been getting very excited watching some of the stuff that they've been doing lately, and the Encore Black it's on my list of like things I'm really looking forward to trying.
Look, and look, I gotta say, this general manager that Ernesto hired, you're kind of putting him as the lieutenant to Ernesto. He's very involved in the product development. He's very involved in what's going on in this factory, and I think that's why you're seeing these blends kind of really get elevated to another level right now. So I'm that Black is a different cigar than probably anything Ernesto's done in a long time. So it's a little bolder, is what I saw in that.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Allegiance. We had the Allegiance on our list this year, I believe, right, Kevin? I think it was.
But that one didn't come out of. That came out of Nicaragua. That one.
Oh yeah,
so it's kind of interesting. Yeah, so it's interesting because like they give out really good cigars at Casa Carrillo. They give out all the La Historias, the Encores, the Pledges. So they were like that's their top stuff they were giving out there, which was really, really, really cool. But the Allegiance wasn't one of them just because it's not out of Casa Carrillo, that brand.
Yeah,
so it's under
true.
EP Carrillo, but not Casa Carrillo.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that too. It was just weird because it's I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it's just so easy to forget that. I don't know. And I always do, and I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't even come out of there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still their cigar, and it was good, and it made our list this year. But
it made mine too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it performed really well. Actually, the first time I think both me and Kevin smoked it. We smoked it together at TPE last year. Yeah.
Yep.
That was good.
At Tapanash in their trailer because the lounge was full.
I know. That was badass.
It was actually cool. It was like me, you, and Barbara in our own private lounge.
I know. Yeah. We had our own private place. It was cool. I like that. But yeah, no, I mean, go ahead, Coop.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, the other thing that happened, I didn't really mention, so there's 4 evening events in Santiago. And each night you got a box of cigars. And it was a 12-count box, and they do different package designs. And there's some of them on the Coop site you guys can look at each night. And the packaging's done by, the artwork's done by Dominican artists. And there's one cigar from each of the 12 manufacturers in there. So there are some gems that they've put in there. Like I know, the Davidoff Maduro was in there, and the Davidoff Maduro is coming back. So that's a good example of one.
Oh, nice.
I have the La Aurora 120 here is another one. I got the LG. So they put the LG in there as well from LaFleur.
Oh.
So, yeah. So, yeah, Wednesday night, day 4 night, there was a dinner. It's more of a tropical party dinner. And that was a great reception. Music was pretty loud though that night. I'll say that. It was probably the loudest. So.
Well, we know you're not a loud music kind of guy.
This was really loud. The Dominicans love their loud music. So, but that was a good event. And then Thursday, day 5, I went to Tabacalera Palma. That's Jochi Blanco's factory. Jochi Blanco's son, Jose Manuel, who I've met before at the trade show, knowledgeable guy. He took us on the tour. One thing I got out of this is the apple doesn't fall far with this kid. He knows this factory inside and out as well as his father. He really has a deep knowledge of it. Again, Hochi, just like all these factory tours, they create this festival type this block party atmosphere. So it's really cool because Tabacco Palma is like at the end of a road, so to speak, and they kind of set it up. It was almost like a block party. Kind of reminded me of a New York block party, but with all Dominican themes there. Music, food, really good. And, Tabacco Palma, old school factory is what I'll say. So it's an older factory. It's old school. But, they also have a machine-made component there as well, so I got to see some of that.
Yeah.
Yep. That night, it's the white dinner, or the white party, they call it, the all-wheel white. Despite what the Hustler guys were claiming I wasn't wearing white pants, and these are the last people who should be commenting on fashion. Like, these guys are the last people that should be talking about fashion, right? So, the answer is I will, and Eric Gutmanson had pants that were more like cream color, to be honest with you. I felt they were in the regulation white guidelines, right? So you wear white to this thing. Now, a couple years ago, I got nailed at Puro Sabor for wearing dark pants. I'm just going to say there was a reason I was wearing dark pants that night. So we won't go further into that, okay?
I think we all know what that probably means, so.
Yeah, I think, I got pretty, I think everyone knows what that means. So there was a reason, and if people want it, but whatever. But, the white party is amazing. Yeah, it's at the big monument in Santiago, which is and it's the only event they hold at that Monument of the Resurrection, in the center of the city.
Like for anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, they open up one day a year for a private event, and ProCigar's had it every year there that I've been there.
Wow.
It is a breathtaking scenario. It's packed. I think this was the best white party they ever did. The music was loud, but not quite as loud. People were I'll tell you what, Eric Newman was tearing it up on the dance floor. I have a picture of Eric Newman tearing it up on the dance floor. Yeah, Eric Newman. I expected Raphael.
Didn't know the guy had moves.
He had some moves. Let me tell you, Eric Newman did a good job, right? And then, of course, that night, I was going to leave about 10 o'clock, right? Because usually by 10, I'm wiped. I want to get some content. I want to have a cigar back at the hotel. And Carney sees me, and Carney's like, hey, something's going to go down at 11, right? I'm like, John, you got to tell me what this is, right? I'm like exhausted. So he does tell me. And I said, all right, I'll stay. And it was because Tony Gomez was going to propose to his girlfriend that night.
Yeah.
And he did, which was it was one of the great moments ever. I think it was it capped the night off. So I stayed till 11 that night, and it was beautiful to see him. He got down on the knee and everything, and she said yes. And give Tony credit to do it at the white party, man. That's the place to do it, because the next night with the auction, there's other things going on that takes center stage. So the white party would be the place to do it, and so he did that.
That's pretty
awesome.
cool. That is pretty cool. I saw the video and I was really excited. That is cool. That's very special too. I mean, talk about a grand moment too.
Yeah, yep. I wasn't on the LaFleur tour, but Jay was telling me about this, and Eric, one of them told me about this, and I guess I think it was Eric actually. On the tour, Lito Jr. and Tony put together like a montage, This Is Your Life video for Lito. kind of like, because it was it's the 30th anniversary of LaFleur this year.
Right.
And I heard Lito was just almost at tears. It was really an emotional moment I heard from Eric on that. Because I wish I could have been on that tour. I wasn't. But ProCigar did have a couple pictures, and there's one in the Coop article coming tomorrow. You could see a little bit of it. So you'll check that out. So that was LaFleur, like I said, it was a big year for LaFleur, a big year for Casada being the 50th, and Casa Carrillo opening. They were big things. The last day, which is day 6, they have a field day, which I didn't go to this year. Jay covered the field day for me, and he did a good job. And the field day is kind of like a multi-vendor HERF, So they give you like these cards, and these cards you can trade in for cigars from different manufacturers. They'll give you other cigars on top of that. There's games, there's music, there's food. It's a pretty cool thing, and they do that. I wish they would do another factory tour, but I kind of understand they do this because I think it gives people a chance to interact a little more with the manufacturers. So not all of them show up there, not all the big names show up there, but like I said, that LaFleur had I know LaFleur had Carney and Lito Jr. So I know there were other people that were there that were some of the captains of their company, so to speak. So
Right.
and then the charity auction was that night. And Michael Herklotz, I just can't say enough about what he does. He's the auctioneer, and he's a very gifted auctioneer in terms of delivery, right? So if you've seen, I have a video out there, you can see him do that. But what people don't see, I saw this part this year. I got Michael's preparation for this auction is unbelievably a lot of work. He puts a lot of work into prepping, understanding every auction item before he gets there, and then when he gets there, he's inspecting every auction item. He is just putting a lot of time and effort, and every year his goal is to break the record. And he this year's the first year they went over $500,000 there. They raised over $530,000. That's $530,000, not $530 million. Sorry, $530,000, a lot of money. And like I said, it's a very, very people are very generous on that stuff. So there's an emotional high when you see that auction go on. I missed it the first year, and I'll never miss it again. You have to see that auction. It's amazing. And then you go home.
Except you and Herklotz didn't go home after that.
Yeah, you guys went to the Great Smoke.
We went to the Great Smoke, yeah. So we went to the Great Smoke, and because he had to get there, he's hosting the Great Smoke, which, by the way, he puts equal amount of preparation into that because he was in ProCigar during the week. He was prepping for that piece as well. And the third thing he was prepping for is he did a seminar. I didn't mention that. There was one seminar he did, a tobacco blending seminar on the fourth day, where they talked about the impact of a wrapper, and he co-hosted that with a guy by the name of David Perez, who runs ASP Tobacco, a big tobacco broker. So they were talking about the different effect of wrappers. So he's prepping for that. So I'm telling you, Michael, who's not a ProCigar member, okay, he has no stake in Smoke Inn. The amount of work he did last week is amazing. Amazing amount of work he did. I take my hat off to him. What a great guy.
And then he still did our show Wednesday night. I mean, I think he
like we said in the show, he's a stud.
He's a stud dude.
Yeah, but I'm sure he talked a lot about the auction and stuff.
He did.
Like I said, if he would not have raised, if he didn't crack that $500,000, if he didn't break the mark last year, he would have been miserable. I know that. He really wants to raise that money, and the auction went a little slower this year than probably in previous years. But I think a lot the auction started later also because of the president being there.
Right.
So that's why Michael had to hightail it out afterwards to get his plane. So that's why he was running out literally because everything went late. And then sometimes the auction just goes longer because of the bidding. It just happens sometimes. So, and Michael, what he's really a master at is sometimes the bids will stall, and he is a master at restarting it. Like it looked like the Fuente home was only going to go for $40,000 at one point. And it ended up going for 70, but it stalled. He kind of got it going again. Just his execution is great.
I think he was saying on Wednesday that he did that, and as soon as he was done, like when you guys went to get on the plane to head back to Florida for Great Smoke, he
Yeah.
was saying like when he was done with the auction, he was like trying to save his voice because he knew like he had used it so much. He's like, I gotta do the whole fucking broadcast tomorrow for for the Great
Yeah.
Smoke. He was, I was trying to save my voice.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Look-
I
look,
mean,
He still had it for our show, so that was amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen. You really have to take your hat off to this man. Like I said, I don't believe he gets paid for the Great Smoke either. Just so you know that he does that. I think out of good. I don't think I'm talking out of turn now with that. So he does that. You know that, and then he doesn't get paid a ProCigar to do what he's doing, and he treats these tasks as very, very important tasks. And you see Michael on the stage at the Great Smoke the next day. He hasn't lost a beat. I mean, he's just like he's a pro. He's a true pro there. So.
Yeah, I've always really admired Michael because, I mean, obviously, industry-wise in his day-to-day stuff, he's always been very good at what he does. He's always been very successful, very innovative. He's a smart guy. I mean, he's very bright. He's very intelligent.
Yeah.
He knows how to. He's a good salesman too. I mean, I'll just say it. I mean, he knows what he's doing. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to these like other events, I mean, he just has that personality. Like even when he like comes on our shows, right? Like he comes on my show, your show, like I mean, like he just he brings 110% every time. Just I can't say enough about him. I mean, there's other people, obviously, there's a lot of great people.
Yeah.
But Michael is a very unique individual, and I'm very privileged to say that I know him very well personally, and I'm always very excited when I do get to be with him and talk with him or converse with him, just because I feel like every single interaction I have with him, something special happens, and he's just one of those people. Like it doesn't matter like when and where. Like every time you connect with him, it's gonna be great. And he's just one of those people, man. And I agree with what Coop says.
Yeah, he's a personally very good guy. I know when my dad was health was starting to fail, I knew Mike was offering to help however he could with me. I mean, it was just that's the kind of guy he was.
He really cares about the industry, but he also cares about all the the people in it on an individually personal note.
Big time.
Yeah,
it's like when you run into Michael, when we ran into him in Ohio, I mean, when you run into people in the industry when, they don't expect to see or whatnot, I mean, there's some people like, hey, it's great. I'm glad you're here and whatnot. You could totally tell that Michael was genuinely happy that we were there at his event to sit with them and smoke cigars and support them.
Yeah. By the way, I also should mention Michael and Manolo Casada got recognition at the charity auction for the work they've done over the years. Now, Manolo was ill, so he couldn't be there on Friday, but they did. Someone accepted the award on behalf of Manolo. It was Enrique accepted it, but those guys absolutely, because Manolo is always a part of that auction as well. Those guys absolutely deserve the recognition they got. Like I said, it's a lot of work. Also, shout out to Fred Rui, he volunteers every year to be a spotter for the auction. And what the spotter does, the spotter is looking around the audience to see who's bidding, make sure no one gets missed. Very hard job to do as well. So Fred volunteers for that every year. And it's great to see Fred in a suit, by the way. Fred rocks the suit and tie really well. So
yeah, he
Good
does.
job by Fred. Good job by Fred. Yeah.
Yeah,
the Bacon King,
the king of the bacon, right? What was the name? What was the name of his book? I have his book. I just trying to remember the title. Thanks for the bacon.
Thanks for
thanks for the bacon. Yeah, I've got it. I've got it laying here somewhere.
Yeah. That's a great book.
It's actually, if you haven't read it, it's a funny book.
It is. It really is. It's not a very big book. It's not like it's not a novel. It's very thin, so it's not like overwhelming.
So long and thanks for all the bacon.
Yeah, so long and thanks for all the bacon. Yeah, great book.
He has another book. He has another book called Be the Lime.
He does. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that book came out a few years ago, back in like 2017, and I read that book as I was leaving Stogie Geeks and forming the Primetime stuff. and I really incorporated a lot of concepts of Be the Lime. It was basically how to stand out among others. If you haven't gotten that book, Be the Lime, get a copy of it. It's a great thing to have. And what I like about both of these books, like the Bacon book's more humorous, right? But it's great. They're great to kind of read and put down and read again. You don't have to you can go back to them and I think you want to read over and over again, which is really cool.
Well, if you know Fred, the Bacon book, it totally explains Fred. It really does.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that.
It really does.
It is. I mean, you'll just it is. Yeah. It's that the Be the Lime book's a little more of an educational book, right? This the Bacon book's more of like how we all see Fred. And
100%.
Yep.
He's another one, dude. I love Fred. I mean, he's just he's one of those dudes that he just plays it so cool. You know, he's just kind of like, yeah, you know, we're hanging, we're here. You know, like he's just like, you know what I mean? I love Fred. You know, he's not wild. He's a fun dude. Everything, you know, every conversation I have with him, he says 100 things that are funny, and I don't know why. Like I should see it coming every time, and then I don't, and I'm just like, dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, because it's just Fred being Fred.
Yeah.
It just happens.
This is why I always get so excited for the trade show, because you know what? It's a great time when everyone from the industry comes together and we get to see everybody all at once, right? So, and we have that coming up very soon with PCA. So I get excited because, you know, I love to go and cover the show, but I also love to get to see, you know, all of the people we know. It really is. It's an awesome time. And I'm excited for this show because I'm very curious to see kind of how it unfolds. Just kind of being so quick, you know. Venue change, shorter turnaround time. So, but yeah, it's going to be an exciting year. And then, you know, we'll go to New Orleans in 25, and you know, we'll see how that goes. But I will admit, you know, and I think Jay Davis made this comment earlier in the show. I didn't pull it up, but I saw him make a comment that he was looking forward to drinking coffee and smoking cigars and eating beignets. And, you know, I've never been to New Orleans, so on a food level, people know I like to eat. I think all three of us like to eat. I mean, if you've ever met us, you know, in person, you know we're not the most in shape individuals here, the three of us on your screen, because we like to eat, you know.
Yep.
If you're a foodie, NOLA is the place to be.
Coop, I know, I know you'll back me on this.
Well, we have Ben on our team, and he knows New Orleans very well. He's a Cajun guy, so.
Oh, so you guys are gonna eat real good.
Well, I'm not worried about that. Yeah, he's like it's gonna be fine. So. If Ben's telling me that, then I'm behind Ben on that.
Essentially, what you're
All
saying
right,
is
we're hanging with Coop's crew and NOLA.
I know. Essentially, what that means is that the Coop crew is not going to be hungry at all during that trip.
I'm not worried. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, look, I don't want to keep changing gears too quickly, but trying to stick to a path here. So, but before we move on, I do want to say. I forgot to mention this earlier. I really should have, but I wanted to recognize our friends from SD Dupont, because without them, this show doesn't happen. So I just want to really quickly remind you that if you really want to be a professional cigar smoker, you got to have the best tools. And if you're going to have the best tools, you got to go to SD Dupont. That's right. SD Dupont makes the best cutters and lighters in the cigar industry. I have one of them right here. I think my boys over here have them too. This is the new Biggie Flat Flame lighter from ST Dupont.
Yep.
We saw this at PCA last year. There's also a smaller version of this called the Slimmy. You know, fantastic lighters. The Flat Flame lighters. You know, Kevin and I have been talking about this for weeks now. You just, you know, if you don't want to use an actual soft flame, but you don't want to use a big torch, I mean, that's a nice hybrid right there. It's a torch, but it's not. It's not a round torch. It's a flat flame torch. Lights accept really well. It's great for touch-ups. It's great for lighting. It's great. It's a fantastic lighter. I can't say enough about it. I've already said so much about it, you know, but it really is. Check it out.
Yeah, it's great.
It's nice. It's nice and solid. It's compact. It lights every time. It's made well. you pay a little bit more than probably your average lighter that you probably get at a cigar shop, but that lighter is gonna last you a lifetime.
Yeah, it lasts 10 times longer than lighters that are a tenth of its price. So it's you get what you pay for.
Yeah, you
Yep.
do. You do. They're stylish. They're cool. They're slick. So don't forget to check them out. And ST DuPont, shake up the legacy. Having said
Just
that,
just don't do what I did and forget to fill it with gas before the show.
oh, did you? Uh-oh.
I did.
I ran out of gas on the last show, actually. And I didn't have the
I'm
gas
like-
with me. The gas
I'm
is in
sitting
my
here.
office.
I'm like, damn it.
That happened to me on Wednesday's show, because I primarily use that on the show. But I always have, I got one. This is actually Nicole's later. I'll pull this out, even though I'm not supposed to, because it's not mine. But she's not here, so I'm gonna do it anyway. But this
Well,
is
I have my beautiful line 2 that I've been using tonight.
This is Nicole's limited edition Gold Dust Line 2 that she graciously left here on the table. So I'm going to open this up. Look at that. Just a beautiful piece. I think this is one of 150 pieces made. And this is Nicole's. This is not mine. So I'm only going to touch it briefly. I'm going to wipe it off. I'm going to make sure it's clean for Nicole, because I don't want to get
Don't mess it up, Matt. Yeah, don't mess it up.
Yeah, I have the limited edition one from last year as well. The space.
That's right.
The space one.
Is it the Space Odyssey? I believe it's officially called.
I believe so. Yes.
That one's really cool as well. Kevin, I remember I was with Kevin when he bought that later. That was a cool grab. That was a really cool grab. Yeah, Dupont. That's the thing about Dupont too, is they like. I know there's a lot of people who like could care less about like the accessories and like fancy accessories. You get people like, well, who's gonna spend that much on a lighter? And it's like, okay, well maybe it's not for you. But me personally, aside from the fact that their name pops up at the bottom of the screen, I've always been a fan of Dupont, and I've always really appreciated some of the products that they make, and especially those limited edition, things that they do. I mean, you really got to like stop for a second, just forget about the fact that it's a lighter and maybe it costs more than you would pay. You have to kind of just stop, take that out of your brain, and you just have to like really appreciate it for what it is. You look at some of those products and like you hear about like how they're made and what they are, and you have to just really like be in awe. I mean, it's like, wow, it's so small. It's just a lighter, but like they put so much time and development into it. Like they're works of art. And we kind of briefly talked about it with Mike on Wednesday, because Herclots has a pretty big Dupont collection.
Yeah, extensive Dupont collection.
Yeah. So it really is. They're really cool, and that's why when we go to the show and they bring all their really fancy shit, and they get it on display, and we sit down with Les every year, and we kind of go over what they have. That's one of my favorite booths to stop at, just because it's a little bit different than going to every booth and cigar. That's cool, but like then you go to the Dupont, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna see something that's really fucking cool. And they bring out these lighters that are made out of solid gold. And they only made like 4 of them. It's like it's cool. It's cool. I don't care who you are. It's cool.
It is. Your co-host didn't order Barbara You're the Dragon lighter before they sold out, so now I got to find something to make up for it.
Yeah, you fucked up, buddy.
I did.
Up. Yeah, and
Les warned me too.
know people too, and you fucked up. Come on.
Yeah, Les warned me too, but she'll get something. She'll get something nice. But I mean, these things really. I mean, people are into watches, people are into jewelry, and that type of thing. I mean, like if you're into watches, I mean, these things are like the Rolex of the cigar accessory world.
Oh, 100%.
It's something that, I mean, if you're into cigar accessories, you got to have one of these in your collection. I mean, it doesn't have to be a $1,500 ST DuPont, but get one. I mean, you won't be sorry if you spend the money on these. You just won't.
Yeah, no. I mean those like especially the line 2s. I mean, you'll literally have that, like you'll pass that down. You'll pass if you take care of it, and you keep it, you clean it, and you don't break it and all that, which is not easy to break either. And you have them serviced from time to time. that lighter will last you a lifetime. You know what I mean? Like a Rolex or a Breitling or a Swiss-made watch, right? You'll have that forever. You'll pass that down. It will last. I mean, and that's why you pay so much for it. It's made well. But anyway, let's talk about PCA as our last item on the docket for tonight. Show's coming up. I think we have one more spare note show before the trade show. I can't remember. I don't have a calendar in front of me, so
We should.
We should. So I don't want to. We probably won't get too deep because there's a lot we still don't know yet. So we can really only go so far. But I kind of want to start the conversation and get ready so we can kind of go to like part 2, essentially, on the next episode. When we probably will have some more information and announcements based on like releases and what's to come. But we've started to get a few. There's some things that have already been announced or talked about, or maybe there's some stuff we do know about that hasn't been formally announced, but we know it's coming. It's Coop. I'm gonna start with you. I'm gonna defer to you, and based on the really early preliminary stuff being talked about for PCA 24, what's got you most excited so far that we know of?
Well, the funny thing is, it's the one thing that hasn't really been formally announced what it is yet, but we do know it's going to be there. It's the Padron 60th. Whatever they're going to do for the 60th. That's what's kind of, I think, got my attention. I know they're going to be doing I think George is doing the keynote this year, and they're going to do some sort of a presentation of the 60th, which I think is really smart. They should have did this with Fuente Padron 2 years ago, the same thing. So they're going to have it in, the area where we've had, where we have all the other presentations and seminars on the day before the show starts. So I know they're giving Padron cigars out, but I don't think they're giving the 60th out, just so you know. I don't think they're going to be – they didn't say what Padron they're giving out, and there's also a limited number of Padrones. But to me, I don't know if there's anything else that's going to really come close to that this year in my book. I think that is the biggest one that I'm looking forward to this year to see. And I will have – usually with Padron, they announce the details of the release on the eve of the trade show. So I don't think we'll know much more until that. So, I mean, that's probably the one that's most interesting to me. I think Christoph's 20th is another one that I'm excited about. I did smoke Casada 50th already, so that's another one. I do know Rocky's got 2 releases, though. So he's got something called Year of the Dragon, and he's got something called Gold Label coming out. So I think Year of the Dragon, we've seen some of that. Gold Label, I do know, I've confirmed that is coming out at the trade show. I don't have the details on that one yet. Right. But I imagine it's going to be a follow-up to White Label. So,
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last year we saw Rocky brought the Conviction, which was, I want to say, the MSRP on that cigar is $100 per cigar.
We've reviewed it already.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Ben reviewed it on Smoking Syndicate a few weeks ago. So, yeah, I mean, so he's reviewed it. It's he didn't kill it. I don't think it was anything that was killed. I'll tell you, he gave it an 88.
Okay.
So, but that didn't factor the price into it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Not a bad score. Not by any means a top score either.
And by the way, we mentioned Year of the Dragon. One of the obviously the most well-known Year of the Dragon cigars, to come out so far, being the Davidoff one. Mitchell is currently reviewing, and he was smoking one of his review cigars before the show. He jumped in to say hello to the gang, so I'm really excited. That'll be out on the website soon. We'll let you guys know as soon as that review is out. But it sounds to me like I don't know. It's gonna be a fun review to read. So based on what I'm hearing from Mitchell, that the other thing too is while we're on the same topic of Year of the Dragon, Gurkha, they, aside from the saga regarding that, in terms of the Year of the Dragon, we saw the first, kind of presentation of it at PCA last year that was to go out. But now we are hearing that, now they're going to be expanding on this Year of the Dragon collection that they're doing with different factories and stuff like that. So I anticipate seeing that at the show, and I'm excited to kind of see what they got planned for that. That seems to be a lot of Year of the Dragon this year.
Well, just so you know, they had it at Great Smoke. They weren't giving out the cigars, but they were showing it off at Great Smoke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all four of the new boxes. So it's Oliva, AJ Fernandez, Oscar Valdez, and Oliva, AJ Fernandez,
El
Oscar Valdez.
Artista?
No, Oliva, AJ Fernandez is the fourth.
Ah, okay, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So
also some
yeah,
good.
El Artista did the original one.
Right. Right. That's what it was. Because I knew I'm like they did something, but it was the original, but not
Yeah.
these. Yeah, and those are all some good factories too. I mean, those
Yeah.
are all factories that I smoked a lot of great cigars out of those factories. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how they do.
Yeah, I talked with them a little at the Great Smoke, and we were talking about this on the last show, and Bianca confirmed exactly what I said. All those other releases, they've had the permission. Gurkha has granted permission, but Davidoff's taken a different position on this, saying they can still do it. So I think that's where that dispute is lying. But that's if you're seeing other Year of the Dragons, then why Gurkha's not challenging them, it's because they had the permission's been granted. So
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really had too many updates on that story. It was something that did come out, what, a month or two ago, I want to say.
about a month. About a month.
Yeah. So
No,
I know,
no, 2 months ago, right before the end of the year, it came out.
Hmm.
Right.
I was going to say, I thought it was right around Christmas time.
And unfortunately, with a lot of those things that happen, we never really get a follow up to it. But I am curious to see kind of how that shakes out because I was just in that particular one. I was very intrigued, based on the two companies and kind of what it was over, and I'm very intrigued to see how that kind of goes down. So I really hope we do get a follow up, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
One of the things I'll mention, it's not really trade show related, but I'm going to use the trade show as a benchmark. You talked about Padron 60, probably making the appearance at PCA this year. But another cigar that, it seems to keep coming up in conversation that we still just quite don't have yet is the Fuente Padron project. Now, as we know, it did begin shipping. However, the container that the original batch was shipped in was dropped or something, and the humidors and the boxes were all damaged, and now it has been delayed. Do we think that by the show in a few weeks, do we think that that Fuente Padron project now makes its way on the shelves, or do you think we still don't see it till after the trade show?
After the trade show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have no knowledge, but my gut is they're not going to ship this thing in the middle of people going out to the trade show. I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah. I mean, I was wondering if they would be able to kind of rectify their situation and get it out before the show just so it's done. But I think you're right. And if anything, I'm going to guess, if I was to make a really good educated guess, I'm going to say that if they can get it out in time, I'm going to say Father's Day. Father's Day, I think, is the time we see it.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, that would make some sense. I think they're going to, I think, again, from my conversation with George last year, he wanted this out because of the 60th coming out this year.
Right.
So, I think they're not going to rush it, either. So, those guys are not going to rush this out. So, if they don't think it's 100%, they ain't going to send it.
No.
And if they don't have everything ready.
Yeah, and those are two companies that are definitely no stranger to being like, oh no, like if it's not.
I think I think they'll display it at the show again.
They probably will. They've been.
I think they will.
Been displaying it for the last 2 years.
Looking at the booth plan, it looks like they have an area to do that. That's why. So.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you'll see it at the trade show though.
And
I just don't think I don't. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, and remind me. I haven't looked at the floor plan recently, so I can't remember. Are they near each other again this year or no?
Yeah, they are.
They are. Okay.
Yeah, they weren't near each other last year. They're near each other this year.
They both had it. They both each had a box on display in their booths last year, though. But yeah, I was curious if they'd be kind of closer together again. So hopefully that. I don't know. Maybe we'll get a little bit more noise on it. I don't know. We'll see.
See, I think they were going to display it whether it's shipped or not.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was really the issue. Yeah, they're pretty close. Like if you look at the floor map, you could see it. They're literally across the aisle from each other.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any? Coop, and I wanted to ask you because you're usually a little bit more in tune with this, and to be honest with you, I'm a little behind at the moment, on my PCA preparation. Not that I won't get caught up, but it's just at the current moment I'm a little behind. Are there any noticeable absences outside of the general Forge situation, which I know we've already talked about? Are there any noticeable absences from the trade show this year?
There was one, but that got cleared up yesterday when Caldwell got acquired, because Caldwell wasn't on there yesterday. So that was one, because they are going to Laducci, I think is the company. They are exhibiting there.
Right.
The big ones that aren't there are Davidoff.
Right.
And Selected Tobacco will not be there.
That's true. I forgot about Selected Tobacco. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they will not be there because
they'll have product at the United booth.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I did forget about that.
They'll have the product at the United booth. Which the United booth looks bigger this year.
Yeah.
But there won't be a Selected Tobacco booth, so Nelson won't be there. So that's
right.
one. I would say those are the two.
Yeah, I mean, we knew about Davidoff. Selected that one's an interesting one, and they claim that, well, not claim, but what they said was that they wouldn't. Nelson wasn't able to get his visa or something sorted out, or something like that. I believe they sent out a press release on it. That is true. It was a little while ago, and they were like, yeah, he just because Nelson won't be able to make it. We're not going to exhibit it at the show, so Selected won't be there. Which is disappointing because that's a great booth, and that's a booth that I always look forward to going to see, and I know both of you do as well. So that's too bad, but hopefully they get it sorted out and they can make sure they get to the next show because that would be really cool.
Yeah, the other one that recently has been added to the trade show floor, and I've been able to confirm this, is Luciano Cigars is going to be there now. They hadn't been on the floor map, confirmed. Now they are.
Late edition.
They're late edition. They're right next to Peter James, ironically too.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So they'll be there. That's good. They'll be there.
Yeah, Coop, you mentioned that the Caldwell acquisition yesterday. That one was, it was interesting. I saw that pop up, and I was like, oh shit, okay, that's interesting. Getting acquired.
I think it was a good move for him. This looks like it was a company acquisition because Caldwell is going to be now working for them, and apparently I think he got a stake in the company as well. He got some equity in the company as well. But I think this is a perfect move for Caldwell because I think Caldwell, he's a really good creative guy. I mean, sometimes some of the ways, like I know dealing with him in media was really difficult, to be honest with you. So I think he is a guy who just prefers to create. So I think this will allow him to really shine. And this company behind him, they're a pipe-based company. They have some retail stores in South Carolina. They, the Cornell and Deal are under them, the pipe tobacco. So they've been wanting to get in. I know these guys have been wanting to get into premium cigars for a while. I know they've had a good relationship with Caldwell because those guys have been at the retail store in South Carolina. Have invited me to several Caldwell events over the past year. So I didn't see this coming. I heard about it. I got word of it Friday morning that it was breaking. So, and it broke in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's huge for Robert.
Yeah. So I think he'll have a nicer booth this year, is what I'll say.
I don't think he'll have his basic folding table, that he's had in years past.
Their TPE booth was even worse.
I heard
they literally sat on the floor with like coolers and plastic bags.
And you know what's funny is it's not funny, but these trade shows will take the money. They don't care. They'll take the money for the booth. You want booth space? You can sit on a cooler.
Yeah, they don't give a shit what you do in that space as long as you pay for it. It's like, hey man, you paid for it.
Show me the money.
As long as you stay in the ethical guidelines, they don't care.
Except for when Caldwell packed up and left early a few years ago. I know that was kind of a hot topic with a lot of people.
It was. Now, I've actually learned from some other companies that left early. Some of these companies are very small operations, and sometimes things happen at home. So, I don't want to beat people too much up on them, but at least let people know you're leaving early.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I
An
don't
email,
I don't
an
I
email
don't
is very simple.
I don't see Caldwell leaving early this year, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, if you, no, millionaire. But I mean, if you can send the email out with your booth number, right? Like, send the email out saying we're leaving after, we have to leave a day early, make sure you get there. I mean, there's no harm in that. They're not going to do that because they're supposed to stay the whole time. That's why they don't do that.
Right. Yeah, they're hoping they can sneak out. No one will notice.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, PCA, it'll be here quick. It's exciting. I'm looking at sorry, the PCA tab on the website.
I'm going to be real interested to see the floor traffic if it
Me
is
too.
increased over last year, and if you get the people that were going to be at TPE if they actually show up for PCA. That's going to be that's one of the things that's going to be interesting to me.
We'll know Monday's going to be the litmus test, like Monday around noon. Let's see how the traffic is Monday at noon. Because I still think a lot of people are going to hightail out.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people leave on Sunday.
Yeah, I know, but I've
talked a product of the schedule. Friday through Monday, people are going to leave on Sunday.
And I know I've talked about this on maybe some other shows, but the retailers can't afford to stay there later. Like, they can't afford all these days at the trade show because they can't. Like, if you're a retailer, the manufacturers aren't looking for you to sit down in their booth and have a smoke. They're looking for orders to be taken. Mm-hmm. And I know, like,
it's not social hour.
No, and when retailers I know aren't going to manufacturers I know, the manufacturers are asking me, and my answer is like, you got to ask the retailer why he's not coming to your booth. Don't ask me that. I don't get involved with that. So
yeah.
I mean, myself personally, I think the ultimate day schedule for that would be Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah, I think so too.
And give Sunday for the chance for people to pack up and go home. Having it on a Monday, I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to want to hang out for Monday. I mean, granted, you lost the half day, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Monday for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
I agree. I fully agree, and it's going to be a little shorter. Because Kevin, to your point, I think that's the TPE schedule, right? It's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Actually, I think it's just Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then
right. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and done.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I don't understand the Friday through Monday thing. I don't get that. Just from, before I lived here, your trips to Vegas were, Sunday through Thursday or Wednesday through Saturday. Those were the trips to Vegas. So just Monday never really came into play. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you're definitely right about that too. And I would like that, especially on a personal note, like with my schedule and stuff. Like it would work nicer for me that way. But for me,
it's the same. It's realistically the same time off work to go. Because if you go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or you go, Friday and Monday, now you're granted you're going to be traveling, Monday night, say Tuesday, you're off. So you're still missing 3 days of work, or missing 3 days out of the shop or missing 3 days, whatever, by the time you travel. So why not just have it when you can capitalize on the travel time and when people actually want to travel and be there?
Yeah, I don't know. But hey, the PCA has been doing their thing. They've been making some changes, as we've talked about so many times over the last year and a half, and we can talk about it till we're blue in the face, but ultimately we just need to go experience it, see how it unfolds. Coop, I know we talked about, PCA 25 in New Orleans. This is definitely a show that I think that they have to hit. I think they got to do it right, and only time will tell if they can do that. And it's either going to be really great, and I think that'll set them up for future stuff. If not, I think you're going to, you know how people are. People love to bitch. So the fact of the matter is if they don't have a great show in 25, then people are gonna bitch about the New Orleans thing, or maybe just other things in general specifically. I just burned my fucking hand on something, which now I'm
Yeah,
like,
if it's not a good show in 25, how quickly does it come back to Vegas?
I'm already yeah. That's kind of the point I'm getting at. Now I'm all fucking distracted. I have my Luffy Lam knife cutter here, and I use it for other things too, because it's a knife, and I noticed I had all this like glue on it from cutting open all the packages and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I gotta like get that off of there, and I was using my Dupont lighter, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I gotta get all that shit off of there because I was trying to scrape it, and then I'm like talking, so I'm not paying attention, and I go to like fold the blade, and I put my finger on it, and I go, fuck, this thing's red hot, and I burn my fucking hand. What a dumbass.
Hey, at least you didn't cut the tip of your finger off like your amazingly handsome co-host did with the same cutter.
Fuck. That was a very stupid move.
It was. But hey, I've learned a lesson. I haven't done it since. So, and I do love that cutter, by the way. So,
you know, I don't. It's decent for a cigar cutter. Like once you know how to use it, it's pretty cool. It's not something I like to use every day. I like it as a knife. I like the knife part of it because I like using it as a knife. You know, pretty good. But you know,
if you know how to use it, it's butter. I mean, it cuts a cigar like just slick. It cuts it very clean.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a nice sharp blade. You know, they use good materials. If I remember correctly, they use culinary grade stainless steel for the knife blade. So, you know, they don't skimp on it. I mean, it's made with good materials. Oh. I actually did review that. I want to say several months ago. So you can read my review on SmokyTobacco.com. And I kind of got into the specifics of that too. So, I won't really rehash that, but, guys, I wanted to try to keep the show kind of tight tonight just because of just kind of personal schedule stuff. So I think I'm going to get ready to end this show pretty soon, especially now that I burned my hair fucking hand and I'm annoyed.
I've got something I want to talk about real quick if we have a minute.
Yeah, we have a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one thing I would like is mutual respect for other individuals.
Oh.
Barb and I were at a sporting event last night, and we had the luxury to be in the VIP lounge for said sporting event. So we go in there, and they have food and beverage and drinks and, you know, and all the stuff, right? And it's about an hour before game time. So we're sitting around, and we're looking for a place to kind of chill and hang out. So they have the seating is arranged. They have, like, 2 individual lounge chairs, a couple love seat sized couches, and then they have a full couch. So we go over to the corner of the room, and there's a couple that's sitting there, and the husband's sitting on one of the love seats, and the wife is sprawled out laying on the couch. And it's just like, I look at Barb, and I'm like, really? It's like there's like a couple hundred people in here that want to have a place to sit. And this lady's sprawled out on the couch like it's in her living room. I mean, come on, people. You know, have some respect. You know, sit next to each other on the lounge chair. Let, you know, a group of 3 people sitting on the couch and have on. I mean, come on, just have a little bit of respect. I mean, it's not a big deal, right? But come on.
I agree. That's crazy.
Just show some common courtesy for your fellow people. We're all here to have a good time, and I don't need to see some lady lounging out and talking. And so basically, they're taking up seating for 5 people for 2 of them. You know, then when they get up, another guy comes over. Then when they get up, and another guy goes over and sits down on the love seat size, he grabs the table that's in the middle for everybody to put their stuff on, and he pulls it up to himself, you know, up to his love seat, so he can put his stuff on it, and nobody else can reach it. Yeah. So it's just, I mean, it's just rubbing. I mean, it's not a big deal, right? But I mean, come on, people.
I agree. That's you know, I see a lot of times when people like go into open seating, and they'll get in there and they'll reserve seats for their friends, and I kind of understand that. But sometimes I see people get into these venues early and try to reserve the seating before anyone gets in. and that's just ridiculous.
Mhm.
That's just wrong. Have some have some courtesy. People are waiting to get in to get seats sometimes, but somehow you got in early and you feel you can reserve a whole like 8 or 9 seats for your friends because you got in early for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah, that's that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, especially a situation like this where it's pregame, so people are going to want to sit down and have a hot dog. I mean, last night they had hot dogs and grilled chicken sliders and jalapeno poppers. So people are going to sit down and eat
That sounds good.
and enjoy themselves
I'm
before
getting
the
hungry.
game. So now you're literally taking up spot. Three or more people could have sat down and been comfortable and enjoy themselves, but these idiots didn't want that to happen because they're more important than anybody else, apparently.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just the fucking way
And
she
stuff
goes
like that.
sometimes.
Yeah, shit like that just rubs me the wrong way. I mean, I'm not from the entitled generation by any stretch of the imagination, and that's a perfect example of, well, we're VIPs, so I'm going to sprawl on the couch like I'm in my living room and fuck everybody else.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's why like people watching is always so fun because as much as like I agree, like that's ridiculous. Like you go into, it's so funny to go into public and just see people, just be people, and you're like, I don't know.
That reminds me of a line. That
Fuck.
reminds me of a line from Tommy Boy.
Oh my god, what?
It's like, did you grow up under power lines as a kid? It's like, how could you have instincts so bad and survive this long?
It's true, like I swear, like you go out. It doesn't matter where it is. Like it just you go anywhere. You go to a store. You go to the mall. You go to like perfect example. You go to Vegas and you're walking through the casinos. Like there was a time, and Kevin, you probably remember this time. There was a time out there like when you went to Vegas and you went out. Like it was a very different kind of experience.
Oh, absolutely, it was.
Like you didn't have like people like it was an event to go to Vegas and go out. Like you went to dinner, you went to a show, you did some gambling, people dressed up. Like it was it was like when the mob ran the town. Now you go there and it's just like it's like Disneyland. I think that's what Robert De Niro said in the movie Casino at the end when he does the monologue about how the town's changed.
Yeah.
It's like Disneyland. It really is. You got families there. You got people just wandering around. And it's just like you got these beautiful resorts, and you just got like these strange people and like just sauntering through. And that's another great place to people watching. You see shit, and you're just like, where the fuck did you come from? Like, where?
Well,
like, what cave did you come crawling out of? Like you have to share your presence with the rest of the world. And like,
it all centers down to lack of respect. It's like people literally have grown up to as being entitled and not having to have respect for other individuals. It's like, if I pay to go to an event or if I go to a casino or I go out to dinner or whatever, everybody else in that venue has paid what I've paid and is expecting the same experience that I've expecting. So I'm going to do what I can to make sure that everybody else has the same experience that I have.
Yeah.
I'm not better than anybody else. So why should anybody suffer?
No, I agree.
And it's like I told Barb last night when I says, I'm going to talk about that on Spare Notes tomorrow night. Cause it's just like, it just rubbed me the wrong way.
That's what we do on this show, right? And it's in true spirit of the Spare Note Show because that's kind of how the Spare Note Show started. The Spare Note Show started because Coop and I, there was an incident that we were talking about, and I said, I want to get on the air and talk about this with you. And then the show started, and now here we are, 54 episodes later. Here we are, still doing it. So, again, another reason why I love this show.
And to make it cigar related, I've seen shit in B&Ms that are, ridiculous. You see, I've witnessed with my own eyes at a B&M here in town where a guy comes in and he's, looking at the cigars and he's walking through the humidor and he's looking and he picks up the cigar and he's like, puts it in his mouth and he smells of it and like this. And then he puts the cigar back in the box and picks up another one. It's like, really? dude, are you fucking serious? And the owner of the B&M, fortunately, saw this whole situation go. So the guy goes up to the register, and he rings him up, and the guy's like complaining. It's like, well, what's with the prices? Well, you're buying the whole fucking box because you literally just put that in your mouth and put it back. So you just bought the box. Congratulations.
Yeah, I hope you like the cigar because you own the box. Yeah, it's true.
I don't get where people have that kind of a mentality. I don't either. We're raised in a different generation, I guess, but
I'll never forget. I was at an event. I think it was a Perdomo event, and everyone was all dressed up. It was a formal event, and I just remember being like, "Oh, like this is really nice, whatever." And then there was like this small group of people that were there, and they literally were dressed in the most casual, like they looked like they were going to the beach. And I'm like, we're at a Perdomo event, and it's like a dressy event. And okay, wow. It's like people just don't think. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be like, but it's just like there's a time and a place for certain things, and like I love when I go to a thing and people choose to do the complete opposite, like at that time and place, and it's like, what goes through your mind? Like I don't know.
I don't know if it's the fact that they don't think or they just don't care. I think it's more so they just. I think
people just don't care. They're just like,
nah, they just don't care.
What difference does it make? And it's like I have some personal fucking like pride and class. Like I don't know. I may be from the newer generation, but at least I still got like raised that way. Like, come on.
I hear you, brother.
Oh man. Anyway, not to really piggyback on your thing, but I know exactly where you're coming from, and I fully agree with you, and I fully agree with you too. But
absolutely, and it just it fits within the context of the show. I mean, it was just a completely out left field rant, but sorry,
animals,
we didn't bring up Gabe Kapler tonight, but hey.
Gabe Kapler, I'm getting really excited. I think he's going to do some really interesting things this year. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be a really fun season.
What's he doing?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know.
He's doing something everybody doesn't know.
I don't know what he's got. I don't know what he's got up his sleeve. I don't know.
He is the assistant GM for the Marlins, and I think his job's like to get coffee and stuff, is from what I understand.
Oh, come on, Coop. Don't be like that. Come on. That's a very serious title. That's not a bitch title. I mean, that's.
Is he even qualified to get coffee?
No, he's not.
Why do you hate him so much? Like, I just let me ask you a question. If you all right. I have a couple different things here. First of all, let me ask one question first.
Right.
This isn't for you, Coop. So this is for Kevin. Kevin, in your opinion, from the outside, right? Who do we think hates their arch nemesis more? Do we think that Bear hates Chevy Chase more than, or like Coop with Kapler? Like, who hates their nemesis more? Like, which one's worse? That's what I want to know. What do you
really
think?
So is that asking me like do I want to wake up in the morning or die? I mean, come on. That's like 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
I mean, I just, and the second question is, I don't know, like, why? It's just like, why? Like, Coop, let me ask you something. If you ran into Kapler on the street, right? Just you and him, there's no one else around. You bumped him, like, oh shit, it's Gabe Kapler. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. So you're like, would you just be a dick to him to be like, oh, Gabe Kapler? Oh, I've waited my whole life for this. Yeah, fuck you, buddy. Like, no, I want to know, like, what would you do? Like, do you hate him that much? Like,
no, I wouldn't even talk to him. So,
I wouldn't even talk to him.
There was an incident at a Great Smoke a few years ago, okay? And I don't hate this guy. In fact, I was a big fan of this guy. But Rudy Giuliani was at the Great Smoke. And I was very, very critical of Giuliani when he gave the keynote and just in general. Like, I never thought he was going to ever help the cigar industry, right? So I wrote this very controversial pieces going back to 2016 on 2017 on this, right? And he was there, and a lot of people wanted me to go talk to Giuliani. I didn't do it because he had actually just bought his own ticket to get into the Great Smoke. It was the dinner. It was the Red Meatloaf dinner, and I didn't do it. I didn't feel it was the point to do it. There's not a point to do it. If Giuliani even read it and he wanted to come up to me, I'd have a conversation with him about it. But I'm sure he didn't even read it. So I just let it. There's no need to go and if I don't like someone, I don't need to have a conversation saying I don't like you. You know. On the other hand, if he had come up to me and said, "Why do you hate me so much?" I'd tell him.
I could see Coop passing Cap on the street. Coop would be just like, "Sup," and just keep on walking.
I can see. I just see like them like walking
Give
past
him the
it,
head
and
nod.
they do like the.
Why are we even
Hey,
talking about this guy?
And Coop would be like, hey, how you doing? And then he walk past him, and he's like, I fucking hate him. What a loser. It's like that was your opportunity to tell him. He walked right by.
We're talking about him, Coop, because anytime that somebody has a rant, it just kind of like leads into you and Gabe Kapler.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through all the reasons why I don't like Gabe Kapler. How he, this team just, had one of the greatest collapses in baseball history in 2018. So we got not enough, and they were playing video games in the locker room, and then he didn't think he had to have pitchers warming up in the bullpen. And then when they get beat when they lose by 20 runs, he starts saying how it was good for the fans that you got to see position players pitch. I mean, it's like this dumb stuff. Like this guy. He's not, and look, it ended in San Francisco the way I thought it would end. So,
end of story.
Coop, it's just funny. It's just funny because we know it bothers you so much. I'm sorry, Kevin brought it up. I mean, come on, that's Kevin's fault.
No.
Like I'm just like,
well,
it's already
the
out there.
boss. I see how it is. Ooh,
You brought it up. I mean, I'm just here to talk about it.
Yeah, no, you're here. You're here to stir the pot and stoke the fire.
Yeah, Gabe Kapler fire. No, and you know what? There's no other person in this world that appreciates that than Terrence Riley. So it's too bad he couldn't witness this, but maybe later. I don't know. But anyway, look,
see, we need to have a show with Coop talking about Gabe, Bear talking about Chevy Chase, and Terrence moderating it. That would be.
I have an interesting idea for a show, and I'd love to put this together. And we should do like a show, but like almost kind of like a bracket show, but like it's per individual. So it's like everyone comes on, and like Coop can come on, Bear can come on, and several others that we know. And everyone can talk about who their most hated person is, and then we all can we all share with the group like, oh, Coop's like, well, first of all, Gabe Kapler, we all knew that. Bear, Chevy Chase, we all knew that. And then we can all share our rest of us like, I hate so and so the most. And then we can all just take the time as a group to discuss and whittle them down to, well, who's the worst guy in that group that was named? And I think that would be a very interesting show. And I think Coop would really argue the point like Gabe Kapler needs to win this because he's the worst. And I'm pretty sure that there's much worse people that would get mentioned in that. So I don't know. I think that would be an interesting concept.
Does anyone want to even hear that?
Yeah, they do. They do because they want to hear you.
That shit would be funny as hell.
It's the same people who are in here, though.
Do people want to hear that? Yeah, they do. Trust me, I know.
Well, because it's funny because people like to see Coop get spun up, and that would definitely spin Coop up.
Coop would be like, all right, so most people probably not going to be surprised. Mine is Gabe Kapler, but I have a few honorable mentions. Let's see. Matt LaFleur.
And how did that end?
The next thing you see is William Cooper and Terrence Riley in the octagon.
Oh, man. Coop, I'm sorry.
Speaking of competitions, though, I still would like to look into that drum battle that I suggested on Wednesday night.
Between Nick Perdomo and Michael Herklotz?
Epic if we could get this, and I think they would go for it.
Yeah, Coop. I don't know if you heard Wednesday night's show, but yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah, I think Kevin brought this up, and it was like, a drum battle between you and Nick Perdomo, and Mike was like very gracious about it, but I don't know. That would be one hell of a thing to see.
That would be.
I don't think
get
Nick
a lot of traffic. I think.
I don't think Nick brings the drums anymore, though. Is the thing.
Really?
Yeah, he hasn't brought the drums the last couple of years.
Well, he doesn't, but we can find the drums. I mean, I know enough people in this town. I could set that up, no problem.
Yeah, that's true.
If
That's
you
true.
get
Yeah,
those guys to agree to it. So that would actually be cool, and I think it would get a lot of. I mean, that would get a lot of traction. I really do. I mean, industry people would like it, and I think even on the consumer side of it, if you did it on video, I think it would be great on the video side. I think the consumer side of it would love it too. It would just be something cool and something different.
I agree. I think it would be fun. But,
the inaugural cigar industry drum battle.
Yeah. I vote for trying to put that together.
You got one other person who needs to be in that.
Who?
Ernesto Perez Carrillo.
Oh shit, that's right.
He's a drummer too.
Yep.
Actually, I think that was I think one of you guys mentioned that, Kevin. When that someone did.
Michael brought that up. I think.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did say Ernie too. Yeah. That's right. I forgot. Yeah. Yep. No, that would be fun. That would be fun. But anyway, guys, look, I'm gonna wrap up the show here. This is gonna be my stopping point. So thank you guys for watching and listening along. We appreciate it. We love you. Thank you for being here. To the other gentlemen on the show with me, I love you guys. Thanks for being here once again. Don't forget to head to SmokingTobacco.com for more news, reviews, updates, and our upcoming PCA 2024 coverage brought to you by Drew Estate, the rebirth of cigars. Live from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire, I'm Matt Tabacco from SmokingTobacco.com. See you next time. Take care.